What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 2, Episode 15. This episode is titled The Miseducation of Mary Cosby, you guys. So, before we go ahead and jump into the review, if you guys are watching this channel or any other on the video and you guys are not subscribed to the channel, then I'm going to need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me a favor by liking the video, turning your notifications on, subscribe to the channel, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, shall we? All right, you guys, so I'm gonna start up with Jenny. So we see Jenny, and you guys, this episode is taking place, after her event that she had when she brought all the ladies together for a fall, right? So we see her, she's at Dewey's office, and she's brought lunch to him, her car. Badass. When she got at that car and them doors just opened up, I was like, ooh, you got money. So she goes in, they sit down, and they have lunch, right? So she's telling him about what happened at the fall lunch, right? And how it went so horribly and how she yelled at Mary. But then she also told him about Mary and the comments about her slanted eyes, right? And he was like, really? She was like, yes. I don't even want to discuss that again. The comment that Mary made about her eyes, it was insensitive, right? But I think the ladies all have said some insensitive things. But the thing with Mary is Mary continuously does things and it's just like, ooh, you can't defend that. Like, it's just like you can't really defend what she's saying. But, Jenny is like, well, I want to sit down with Mary at some point, have a conversation with Mary and tell her how I felt about her saying that and how offensive that was to say to an Asian person, right? So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to move on over to Mary, you guys. So we see Mary. I want Mary just to, burn, singe, do something to that wig. It's ugly. Like, the hair is not bad. Well, it's not that bad. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in your face. It's this in the middle. I don't know what this is. It looked like it's a bang, but then it looked like it's supposed to be a part right here, and the hair is supposed to go to the side. I just don't know what it is. But we see her, and she's sitting down with Meredith, right? This is why I say I can't defend Mary, right? Because she continuously does things. This is just like, you gotta stop, right? So she was talking about Jenny, and meanwhile, she was mimicking Jenny. I was like, ooh. Now, you wouldn't like it if someone, when they talk about you, you wouldn't like it if someone mimicked you and, talked in Ebonics or something like that. So you should not do that. I was just like, damn, Mary. I don't think this reunion is going to be that great for Mary. I really don't. Speaking of which, I think they're getting ready to shoot the reunion because I know if it wasn't last week, it was the week before where Andy asked for questions for the ladies for the reunion. So Mary tells Meredith that she feels like Jenny is a reflection of Lisa. And I was like, at first I was like, huh? But then I can kind of see it, right? Because Lisa had an issue with Mary, right? And she feels that maybe Jenny is picking that up and running with it. So I got it. So then Mary asks, where does Lisa and Meredith stand at, right? Meredith. I have a really big question for Meredith. Because we all know Meredith. So Meredith still has the issues with Jen, right? But the thing is, we saw when Brooks and Jen sat down earlier this season and had a conversation and they were good. So I don't know why Meredith is still holding on to this. Very confused. That's what she says. She's still stuck on the fact that Lisa defends Jen so much. And like I said, I just thought that not Lisa, but I thought that Meredith and Jen had moved past it, but who am I, right? Well, let's move forward, you guys. Next up, let's talk about Lisa real quick. So it ain't gonna be much with Lisa in this episode. Excuse me, y'all. The only thing with Lisa was that her son Jack is getting ready to go to the prom, right? So she has a photographer come over. The photographer is taking the pictures of him, and she is kind of like the creative director because she was giving so many directions. I'm just like, oh my God, Lisa, shut up. This is just a prom photo. And I want them to do something different with his hair because it was just like, it looked like, some people just grab a tub of gel and just go whoosh, and your hair is done. That's what it was given. That's what it was given. But she was quite annoying. And that's it. I ain't got nothing else to say about Lisa. Let's move on over to Jen, you guys. So with Jen, we see her, right? So Jen is at the crib and she has her mother over. And you guys know, like I keep saying, Jen has a savior complex, right? That's what Jen wants to do. She wants to save people. She wants to be a savior to everybody. You know, I do this for other people. And at this point, I was like, oh, so what she's trying to do now is trying to clean up her image because, you know, she's in the media for this whole, you know, frauding people, right? I'm like, oh, so now she wants to clean up her image and she wants to do something for her people, the Tongan people, right? So she's getting some supplies together. I saw some toothpaste and stuff like that, right? I'm like, oh, so we're doing an image overhaul. Doesn't really work, Jen. You should have done this a long time ago. This is what you should, like, if this is how you want to portray yourself now, this is how you should have came on season 1 and been, but you are a little bit too short for me, right? Because I still believe she did it, right? But her mother's over there, right? And her mom is telling her how, you know, she believes she's innocent. I'm like, okay, you're her mother, so you're inclined to believe that she's innocent, right? So then Jen starts talking about the fact that she has 3 different attorneys, right? And the retainer is $2 million. And she has to pay it in cash. So she can't do it in liquid assets, you know, property or anything like that. It has to be physical cash, right? I'm like, oh, wow. So she's talking about, yeah, you know, Coach Sean saying like we need to downsize. You think? If you ain't got $2,000 readily in cash, yeah, you might want to go ahead and say we want to downsize this damn house that they're renting. Yeah, you gotta downsize this. Downsize. So then her mother is like, well, you know, I'm willing to give, you know, put up my, you know, her pension, her home, and her retirement. I'm like, wait a minute, lady. You really believe she's innocent to put that shit up? I'm sorry, innocent or not, child or not, I'm not doing that. Love you. You know, I'll help you in the best way that I can, but to put my house up and my retirement and stuff like that, ooh. And Jen, you would really take that. It's a special place down below for you because you know you're guilty. You know you're guilty, even though you're trying to put everything on stew, you're guilty. Let's keep it real. You're guilty. Guilty as sin. But that's it for her. Like, I wouldn't do that to my mother. I really wouldn't. No. But let's move on, you guys. We're going to wrap up and we're going to talk about Whitney, right? So, in this episode, this is all about Whitney and her party for her rebrand of Wild Rose, right? I will say I was happy to see her logo this week because you guys remember in the last episode when she did that photo shoot, it was her own brand name. I was like, why would you do that? But she has Wild Rose this time. Now remember, Whitney says that she and her husband Justin have spent $300,000 in this rebranding. Speaking of her husband, have you guys saw the latest about him that he is being sued for some stuff? These housewives, I don't know why y'all go on TV knowing y'all got dirt in your closet, skeletons and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know why. But yeah. So she spent $300,000. I don't know what she spent $300,000 on, because for the party she has party bags and she has these pillows, and I was just like, okay, I guess. Y'all know I love Whitney, but I don't see where she spent $300,000, right? So then they talk about the party, her and Heather. Heather asked her who all was coming. She said, well, I invited all the ladies, including Mary. I was like, oh, you invited Mary. So then she tells her about Lisa, right? You guys remember in the last episode that she and Lisa went work exercising, right? And you guys remember Lisa had told her about the conversation that she had with Mary back in Vail, where she said about Jen that, you know, when you mess with my church, you go to jail, stuff like that, right? So now Whitney is thinking about that and wondering if Mary knew something, and that's the reason why Mary didn't show up to get on the bus with them. And Heather's like, well, I just thought it had something to do with Meredith not coming, right? So she says, do you think, so now they're trying to wonder if Meredith knew something, informed Mary, and the reason that they didn't show up is because they both knew, right? Do I think that's the case? Not at all. I don't think so. So then we get to the party, right? So we see all the ladies, they start to show up. So Jenny is there. Jenny's there with Dewey. We see Heather, and we see Jenica Shaw showed up. We'll talk about her in just a minute. Lisa and her husband, they showed up. Now let's talk about Jen. So Jen had this ugly ass wig on. I'm probably gonna put the picture right here. This is the second wig that Jen has wore that is just like a hell no, right? But we're gonna talk more about that wig. So Jenny, like I said, she's there. So Heather notices, hey, you got a gift. She says, it's not really a gift. She says, it's Mary's shoes and I'm gonna give them back to Mary. She's like, oh really? She was like, yeah. Now Jen, back to this wig. When Heather says she likes this wig, she says, yeah, it's Beyonce like. It's who like? It's who? Did you say Beyonce? Girl, Beyonce would never wear it. Now she has, back in the day, she didn't have the best wigs, but her wigs look better than that you have on your head. Don't you ever in your life disrespect Beyonce like that. Don't do it. So at one point, Jenny pulled the ladies to the side, right? She said she wanted to get all the ladies to the side to have a conversation with them. So when she sat down with the ladies, she had the conversation and she told Mary, like, hey, Mary, so you can remember at my fall party, right, you guys, you remember that Lisa was like, we both look good as blondes. And you was like, oh, okay. But then I showed you the picture. And then you said, oh, I love your slanted eyes. She says, well, I do like slanted eyes. And I was like, Mary, why are you doubling down on this shit? Because she was like, that's offensive and rude to say to an Asian. She says, but I like your slanted eyes. I was like, Mary, this woman is telling you that that's not something that was cool that you said to her. And instead of you saying, you know what, I didn't know that, that's my apology, you double down on this and I like slanted eyes. I was like, oh God, here we go. But she did eventually say that, she meant no harm by that and she apologized. Do I believe her? Yes, I do believe her, right? I don't believe that she meant any offense to that. She may not have known that that was an offensive thing to say to an Asian person, which I don't know how, you never say anything. Asian people don't like you to, make any kind of, unless it's like your beautiful eyes or something like that. Don't talk about the shape of their eyes. Like, don't do that. So then Jenny went on to say, and also, this gift that you gave me, I don't want it. I'm going to give it back to you. She says, because it's offensive to me because you gave me a gift that wasn't really meant for me and it wasn't even really a gift to begin with. It's something that you bought and that you wore and that you didn't want you just pawned it off on someone else. So Mary says that, well, I didn't wear it. But then she said in the interview that, she got those shoes for the reunion last season. She tried them on and her feet hurt. So she just wanted to give them away. Here's the question, and I'm going to ask this question in just a minute. So Jenny said that these shoes were not meant for me. They were actually meant for Jen, right? So she says, and then also you left the receipt in the bag. And Mary's like, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to leave the receipt. So here's my thing. She says, and I think she said she got it on clearance or something like that, right? So Mary, here's the question that I have for you. If the shoes hurt your feet, why didn't you just return them? Because you had the receipt. Wouldn't it have made more sense to just get your money back instead of whatever? It ain't got nothing to do with me, right? But Jen eventually took those shoes. So then, Meredith made mention to Jen that, some of the ladies are saying it to her friends, right? But they've been saying things about her behind her back, right? And Meredith is like, I can't be there. You need somebody that's going to be there for you. She says, I can't be there for you. And Jen was like, why can't you be there for me? She's like, because it's just too much there. And I was just like, Meredith, again, you sat down with her and with Brooks, and they made up. So I'm stuck. I'm kind of stuck because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. So then Lisa's like, wait. Was that addressed towards me? Girl, yes, it was. So then Lisa got upset. And then she went at Mary, right? She says, because she's trying to say that she hasn't said anything about Jen, but Mary has. You know, saying that Mary called Jen a Mexican thug, and Mary's like, that is not a part of my vocabulary. I did not say that. Yes, you did. You did. You did. So Mary told Lisa, like, don't call me a liar, but you just lied. So she got up and left, and then Meredith followed in behind her, right? So when Meredith followed in behind her, they were getting ready to leave. Whitney went and gave her a toast, but then Mary and Lisa had a conversation to the side. Mary is still saying that that is not a part of her vocabulary, but in the interview she says, I want to believe that I didn't say that. But seeing Jen in them braids and that pretty fur, you know, why do they need the helicopters? It just kind of reminded her of the cartels. I was like, so you do know how to say cartel, but you just didn't say it in that episode. But Lisa and Mary had a conversation. It ran too long for me. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Leave your comments in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so you guys are notified when I drop anything else. Share the video, you guys. And until the next one, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands. Wear a mask. Socially distance, you guys. Be blessed, and I will see you guys later.